The Pelicans finally win one, defeating the Brooklyn Nets 116 to 113. After a couple of fourth quarter fade-outs against the Denver Nuggets and also the Orlando Magic, it was nice to finally win one. What happened in this one? Let's talk about it today on Flock.
Ready?
G'day everyone and welcome to Flock. I am your host, Lyle Swithenbank, at Lyle Swithenbank on Twitter and on TikTok, at Lyle Pels on Instagram. Thanks for checking out all those different platforms. It's great to get a few more people joining us from all over the world, which has been really cool to connect with everyone. So, the New Orleans Pelicans. Difficult start of the season, now 10-33, but we celebrate while we can. A victory against the Brooklyn Nets, 116 to 113. A nervous fourth quarter, despite a back and forth game. The Pelicans went down to start the fourth, fought their way back, and held on for victory. And the catalyst? Well, it was a number of people, but it really finished with Trey Murphy, who for the month of January has been phenomenal. In fact, averaging over 31 points a game. Let's have a chat about him coming up. But to start off, what do we like? Well, we like the wins. After a season of perhaps disappointment, absolutely disappointment, there's been some bright sparks, right? We're in the middle of January now. We've seen a fair bit of this team. We're over halfway done with the season. And, there's much to be desired about this season. And unfortunately, we just did not get the results that perhaps the talent on paper says that we should have. But we celebrate the victories and we bank those victories. We're bottom of the West, which is wonderful. And 10-33 on the season. So, against Brooklyn Nets, this was the second night of a back-to-back. We just played the Denver Nuggets, who were without Nikola Jokic. The Nets came in to the Smoothie King Center, and we started slow. And the starters, once again, got caught a little bit short. Saddiq Bey back. He had been back for both nights of the back-to-back. Straight back into the starting lineup. Starting lineup of Trey, Zion, Saddiq, Fears, and Derek Queen. And Brooklyn just came out with a bit more gumption, bit more oomph. And the Pelicans fell onto the back foot. Enter Yves Missi. Completely changed the game. Probably the best game he's played, I would say, in a very long time, if not for his career. He was everywhere. In the first 5 minutes, he had 7 rebounds and 6 points. And every time he came in, there was blocks, there was athletic plays, offensive rebounds. He was fantastic, and credit to him. But what I liked on the scoring side of things is it was shared. After the first quarter and the bench came in and did all the hard work, the stars started to shine. Zion's third quarter was as good as advertised, as good of a third quarter as we've seen from him, and as good as a quarter overall that we'd seen from him. He took over, dominated. They could not stop him. And then old mate Trey Murphy got going and closed the game out. He was fantastic. Ended with a team high in scoring. He grabbed a heap of rebounds and actually closed the game out with the final 3 defensive rebounds. Trey Murphy has taken the step that we thought was going to be coming into the season. Unfortunately, took a little bit to go up. But now, he's going off. And but for us winning games, he'd be getting talked about as one of those guys to go into the All-Star game. Unfortunately, 10 wins is probably not going to get you an All-Star. And despite the popular vote, I don't think he's gonna get in there, unfortunately. But let's talk about what happened on this game. So, as I said, start of the first quarter was woeful. We, got absolutely smashed. The bench came in, led by Yves Missi, who was just giving us more opportunities to score. He was just offensive rebounding. He was tipping the ball. He was scoring himself. Nice little touch around the rim. And, he's being active. He was playing active, and that's what we wanted. End of the first quarter, 31-27. Managed to fight back to just 4 down, and that was, shooting woefully from outside. We were, I think, 1 of 10 of the first 10 attempts. And we had some magical plays. There was a play where they just kept moving the ball, swing, 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 kick out to the corner, and Trey Murphy ended up open for a 3. And that really started getting him going. His ability to move off the ball and take what the defense is giving him has taken a massive leap. And getting the attention that he was getting earlier on in the season, it means that he's had to adjust, had to continue to get stronger and smarter in terms of knowing when to shoot and knowing when to move the ball. And I was loving that. Second quarter, we won 27-24, and it was game on. Going into the half, I think down by 1. Oh, it might have been drawed. It really put us in a situation that we were well in the game. And look, Brooklyn is one of those teams, one of the lowest teams in scoring in the whole league. But we made stupid mistakes. First quarter, we didn't have any turnovers. Then after that, gosh, we were turning the ball over left, right, and centre. Luckily, we got hold of that, calmed down, and had a couple of threes from Jordan Poole were very helpful. Bryce McGowan's was solid, also played his role. And the guys that came off the bench, Karlo Matkovic, another one that was bringing energy, those guys buoyed the starters so that the second half meant that Zion could just do Zion. I thought that was really, really good. Third quarter, we won 33-32, and then the Trey Murphy special in the last quarter, like I said, started slow. They brought Derek Queen out, put in Yves Missi, who also started the second half in place of Derek Queen. And there's going to be games where Queen, for matchup purposes, just doesn't match up that well. And this was one of them, 29-26, and we win the game. And I think you could feel the collective relief of not only the fans, the people in the stands, and also the players. Because there've been a number of games with 2 minutes to go that we'd let slide. The Orlando game we should have won. The Denver game we should have won. And instead, the last 2 minutes, silly turnovers, miscommunications on defense, and, Bob's your uncle. You've lost the game. And it's got away from you. And you can see the dejection in the players' faces when they do everything right for 45 minutes, and the last 3, they throw it away. So, let's look at the stats on this one, because it was quite interesting. 47% from the field for us, 44% for them. They took 43 3-point attempts, and try to say that 10 times fast, and they hit 16 of them, 37%. We were 11 of 33, 33%. Again, like I said, the first probably quarter and a half, we couldn't hit anything to save ourselves. It was really up to Trey Murphy, Jordan Poole, who were hitting the threes consistently. Free throws, 7 of 12 for Brooklyn to 19 of 25, 76% for the Pelicans. So thankfully, they weren't very good at free throws. They also played outside more. And I would say for the first half, they were letting a lot of things go. And in the second half, the free throws started piling up a little bit more. But you've got to play to the whistle, right? And, I've got on here and whinged about free throw disparities like hundreds of times against the Pelicans. But in this one, it was a team that were smashing them in paint points. And so that's really where the difference came, is that we kept attacking and they kept hacking us. Not to say a few weren't missed, of course, but, that's just how the NBA goes. Assists 24-24. Again, not that good of an effort from us. 24 assists is not really enough for us to continue to be successful. We're playing I'd say a bad team in Brooklyn, and led by a couple of good scorers in Michael Porter Jr. and also the guy from LSU, whose name will come back to me in a minute, Cam Thomas. And those guys, really carried that team, as well as young Greg Powell as well, who looks like a great player. Rebounds, we won 53-43. Offensive rebounds, 18-10. And that was Yves Missi. He was fantastic. Zion was the same. They were attacking that offensive glass and giving us more opportunities to score. And what that means is that all of a sudden, their scramble mode on defense. We're getting open looks. Sadiq Bey's, final 5 points, which is fantastic for him. He got an offensive rebound, hit a massive three to tie it, hit the winning points as well down the stretch, and then Michael Porter Jr. hit a big three, and then we hit a 2 at the end, and that sort of closed it out. But that was the reality of things, is that because we were active on that offensive end, we gave ourselves more opportunities to score, and easy opportunities, because we were active. And I love to say that from the Pelicans. So, that was really the difference. It was additional possessions. Points off turnovers, 15-7 in favour of the Pelicans. So when we turned them over, we exploited them. We had a total of 8 turnovers for the game, which is fantastic, to their 10. So, you turn 8 turnovers into 7 points, or you turn 10 into 15. I know which one I'm taking, and we did very well on that tonight. It was getting into the passing lanes. It was making them overthink their passes, and just some, I suppose, uncharacteristic, but perhaps characteristic turnovers that if you put pressure on these guys, they're going to give you the opportunity to win the game. And that was good that the Pelicans actually took advantage of this one, because the last 2 games where they'd been put in positions to win, they just failed to convert. So, let's go over to the box score. We'll have a look. Sadiq Bey on you played 26 minutes, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 of 8 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, including a massive dagger that was beating the shot clock, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, and he got hacked flat out, but, only got the 6 free throws, but that's okay. No turnovers, they gave him a -6. I thought he was solid. There were times where perhaps he overplayed it a little bit, and again, swing through that he would usually get the call for, they were letting go. But that's sort of how it goes. 29 minutes and 45 seconds for Zion, 25 points, and when you get him and Trey combining for 59 points, you're going to put yourself in a good position. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, 2 blocks, 11 of 14. Massive, couple of big offensive rebounds. You could see he was angry at times. Had 4 turnovers, but also some of those were off errant passes. Other ones, one he drove into the paint and just tossed it out of bounds. He was looking for Trey Murphy. Skill errors where he's overusing it or just not executing. And, when you got the ball in your hands that much, you're going to get a few of those. And we know when Zion gets hacked going to the paint, it's 50-50 whether it's a free throw or it's out of bounds off him. So, -17 for him on this one. Derek Queen, he only played 16 and a half minutes in this one. 4 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal and a block. And he was 0 of 5. He didn't make a field goal in this one. And he was troubled a bit by Nick Claxton, Noah Clowney, that Wolf guy as well, who seems to be a pretty good player. They just sort of didn't get him going. And when Eve was playing as well as he was, it sort of meant that you didn't have to rely on him. He hit his 4 free throws, had a turnover, is a -14 on the night. Did a whole heap of other stuff, but yeah, we're going to get rookie nights like that from Derek Queen. And you're still getting 4 assists off him with 6 rebounds. I can't ask for much more. His defense was pretty solid, to be fair. It was just an up and down game where Eve was on. Trey Murphy, 38 minutes. He's been our star all year. 34 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, a block, 12 of 22, 5 of 13 from 3, 5 of 7 from the free throw line. That was a bit lower than he normally shoots. Missed a couple and everyone was shocked. No turnovers. He's a +15 on the night. Trey Murphy has taken the next step. He has been phenomenal. For January, he's averaging over 30 points a game. Shooting at the clip that he's doing. He's getting in between. He's getting to the basket. He's dunking the ball more than he's ever done that. And he's playing with intention. You remember we talked about earlier on in the season, Trey Murphy's at the best when he moves with a purpose. When he makes his move with a view to either score, shoot, dunk, or pass the ball. But be intentional. When he over-dribbles the ball, that's where he comes unstuck. So I really like what Trey did tonight and what he's been doing in the last few games. He has been phenomenal. Again, 54% from the field. And I like that he took 22 shots. Plus, the 7 free throw attempts. So the more possessions that Trey Murphy touches the ball, particularly with Zion on the court, who is still getting that gravity, the better. You're hearing opposing coaches scream out, up, up, up. And Jordi Fernandez, the coach of Brooklyn Nets, was yelling, get up on Trey Murphy, because he was getting these open looks and he was punishing Brooklyn every opportunity he got. So that was pretty cool. Jeremiah Fears, 30 minutes, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 of 13, 1 of 4. Bit of a rookie game for him. 0 turnovers though, so it was a +8. He came on at the end of the game and it was good. He was disruptive in this one. We've seen a few rookie turnovers towards the end of games, and putting him in these close games to finish, I think has been really good. What I liked in this game as well was his change of pace. We've seen a lot of him getting the ball going coast to coast and missing layups. And that happened in the Denver game. I think it was in the Orlando game as well. There were some layups that he missed towards the end that meant that they were getting easy runouts at the other end, and we ended up losing those games. I don't blame him for that, but those are some of the situations that he gets these awesome looks and then he doesn't slow down to actually finish the layup. In this one, he used his speed to his advantage, and I really liked that. I like that he took the shots that he was given, and he played with pace, and he moved the ball. I also like that he's going and getting 7 rebounds. That's your point guard, going and making sure that he's as involved from start to finish of every play. And I really like that. I thought it was good from Fears. And in the broadcast before the game, he was talking to AD and Joel. He snuck up behind him, and they asked him, when are you getting your 10 assist game? And he said in the next 5 to 10 games. So book that. Hopefully he's getting that sooner rather than later, and it'd be great to see him take that facilitator role on. 4 again tonight, so it's there. It's just about putting guys in a position and always looking to improve the situation for your teammates. Eve Meesey, 34 minutes, 12 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, only 1 block, although he was everywhere, 6 of 13, 9 offensive rebounds. You get 12 rebounds for a whole game and 9 of them are offensive. He was an absolute beast, and I thought he was great. It was a plus 23 on the night. I'd say that's probably a career high in terms of impact, and he was excellent. I know I've harped on about him, but he was absolutely everywhere. And even plays where it looked like he wasn't going to get to it, whether it was tracking a rebound, whether it was just tapping the ball back, saving a couple, or tried to save one in bounds, he was active. And it was giving the Brooklyn Nets a whole lot of pain. And I thought that was really good. Carlo Makovic, 17, nearly 18 minutes, 8 points, 3 rebounds and assists, 2 blocks, 3 of 5. Shooting, hit a 3. Again, solid, +7. The bench were excellent. Particularly McGowan's, Carlo, Eve, and they've given them all 10, 7, and plus 23 on the night. Yeah, really good. Bryce McGowan's 14.5 minutes, 5 points, 2 rebounds and assist, 2 of 5 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, and looked good. 1 turnover, but he was guarding. He got put on Powell, he got put on MPJ at times, and those were things that I liked. Now, we'll have a little bit of chat about the defense coming up, but I thought he was pretty solid. Now, Jordan Poole, he played 17 minutes off the bench, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He had a turnover. He was a -2 on the night. It was probably one of his more efficient nights in terms of his shooting, and that was because he shot 2 of 7. He'd had a good game a couple ago. I think it was against Orlando. But he gets hot, and then he cools off, takes some boneheaded 3 from half court, and then gets to go and sit down. It's really difficult with Jordan Poole to put him in situations at the end of games because you can't trust that he's not going to do something, that he deems is heroic and it go catastrophically wrong. I think he has a spot in the league as some sort of scorer, but it is really frustrating to watch the guy over-dribble, carry the ball, get himself into all sorts of predicament, and then slip over in the paint. And he slips over in the paint maybe once a game, at least, because he over-dribbles. And what he needs to do is focus on being catch-and-shoot shooter instead of trying to create. Leave that to other guys. Just play off everyone else. And yeah, he's put in there as a point guard, and while Jose's out, there's going to be more creation. But, man, he can be infuriating at times. But then he can also hit some awesome threes and everyone goes, wow, that was great. But I suppose small doses. Jordan Hawkins played 15 minutes. He had 2 points, 2 rebounds, 1 of 5 shooting, -9. He was quite good against Denver and then sort of fell in his behind in this one. He lives and dies by his jump shot, and if it doesn't fall, well, you know, what are you going to do? He missed 4, you know, he had 5 shots, missed 4 of them. It's really difficult to play him. I know we're running out of guys, but his minutes are going to disappear again if he can't hit shots. You know, Micah Peavy didn't play tonight. It was probably because he couldn't hit a shot to save his life last game, and they didn't really need that bigger sort of defender. But man, it's frustrating. Anyway, over to Brooklyn, 20 points for Porter Jr., 10 for Claxton, 16 for Powell, 17 for Denham, who is their, I think he's a rookie, or maybe second-year player. He's a Russian guy that can shoot the lights out. He's quite good. Cam Thomas, 16 points, and Sharp, 15. So they had a good spread. And it was, a lot of it, just guys making the most of their opportunities. And sometimes that's all it takes to win a game, is guys just playing hard and scoring the basketball when they get the opportunity to. And look, Michael Porter Jr. has been pretty good against us every time we've come against him, whether it was at the Nuggets, whether it was at Brooklyn. But we managed to keep him relatively quiet. You know, he was averaging 30-odd points a game. He shot 7 of 20 tonight. And yeah, a couple of big shots, and it looked like his last-second hoist may be heartbreaking for us, but he missed, and we take it. But I mentioned defense, and we're going to chat about that now. The difficulty with the defense that we're playing is that there doesn't seem to be a consistent scheme. Sometimes we're switching. Sometimes we're like, no, we'll stick with the man. And the problem is that if that's not communicated, you get half and half. And there were so many open looks that this team gave up, the Pelicans that was, to Brooklyn, because they kept failing to communicate on defense. And that's where Herb Jones plays a critical part in putting people in a position to be successful on that end of the court. Without that, they were in scramble mode. We were seeing guards end up on centers, and Eve did very well when he switched out. But unfortunately, you hit Jeremiah Fears or Jordan Poole or Jordan Hawkins guarding the centers, well, they're just going to get easy buckets. And we saw that time and time and time again. There has to be consistent communication. And we've heard from James Borrego previously talking about getting these players to communicate and making sure they understand what's going on. I like when James Borrego calls a timeout, you know, when the team starts breaking down on offense. But sometimes on defense, the guys need to be aware what their requirements are. And switching everything isn't necessary. You don't have to do it every possession. Sometimes you want the guy to fight through screens and maintain their possession. And Antonio Daniels talks about it a lot on the broadcast. Why did you switch that? Don't switch that. See, what happened now is that we've just compromised the entire defense because someone's gone under the screen and switched out, you know, the rolling center who's come up to guard the pick and roll. And now he's on the perimeter getting broken down by whatever point guard decides to have a bit of showmanship. So consistent defense is something that they're going to have to continue to work on. And that's where we're getting beaten because, man, when we want to score the ball, we can. The problem is we're really good for 3.5 quarters, and then that last quarter we sort of fall in the hole. Except in this one where Trey Murphy said, we're not doing that. I'm taking over, and thankfully Sadiq Bey cleaned up a couple of misses towards the end, and, you know, we get away with that one. So, disappointing that we got to 33 losses before we got to 10 wins, but again, this is a situation where the team needs to be reset. They've said, there's been reports that have come out that Trey, Herb, Zion, Fears, and Queen are off limits. Everyone else is for sale, or, you know, are listening to offers. I would be hesitant to include Eve unless it's a good situation, or like a really good deal. If you can get a first-round pick or something for him. Purely because he's so raw, and we're starting to see glimpses like this that he could turn into an absolute beast. I don't think he ever turns into, prime Dwight Howard, but he blocks shots. He's a great rim protector, and he's a quick learner. He's continuing to improve every single game that he plays, for the most part. I don't know what's out there and who's for sale. It sounds like Memphis is breaking everything up. I don't know if there's anything there that you'd actually want to go for. But not having that first-round pick, I mean, you're basically eliminated anyway from playoffs, play-in. You've got too much ground to make up. I don't think it's going to be feasible this year to even try to salvage like a play-in spot. So if we have a look at the standings, in the West, we are 10-33, Sacramento's 11-30, Utah 14-27, Dallas 16-26, and Clippers 17-23. And look, we went on that 5-game winning streak. We then followed it up with a 9-game losing streak. You're not going to win. I just don't think you're going to catch Memphis. I don't think you're going to catch Clippers. I don't think you're going to win another 7 games in a row. We might beat Indiana coming up, but then we've got the Rockets, who we beat, but who knows if we can do it again. There's a lot of variables coming up, and I don't think aiming for the 10th spot is feasible. Again, still a lot of games to be played, but if the second half of the season is the same as the first half, well, what are you going to do? You're 8 games back from 10th. So a lot of water under the bridge, but a lot of ground to make up. Also, we don't have a first-round pick, so tanking just really isn't an option. But we can't win every game. We could have won 3 and put yourself in a good position. You could have been up near Utah climbing. Instead, you lose a couple. All year we've given up double-digit leads, but, man, infuriating to say the least. So, 3 key takeaways from the Brooklyn Nets game. Yves Missi was excellent. I loved how he played. He brought energy. Carlo, a close second in terms of the energy that they brought. I like the offensive rebounding. I like the rim protection. And Yves has a place on this team as a variation to Derek Queen. You've got a offensive center who has a bit of defense, and you've got a purely defensive center who can play a little bit of offense. If both continue to grow, you've got 2 really great pieces, a Jokic mold, and then you've got, a Clint Capella type, Serge Ibaka type setup, mold coming off the bench. There's not a bad combo there in terms of your big man rotation. You then play Carlo as a sort of 4-5 hybrid who can shoot it a little bit, who can rim run. There's the makings there. You can see the talent. It's about bringing it all together. And I don't know if a win now move would be worth it. Do you go and aim for a Ja Morant? Well, you might. What you don't want to do is get fleeced and give up first-round picks to go and get a guy that has been just as injured as his draft mate, Zion. So, I don't know. Second key takeaway from the game. When you close a game out, it breeds confidence. I want to see them come into this Indiana game with some energy. Right from the jump. It shouldn't be up to the bench to supercharge the offense. The starters are there. They're the starters for a reason. You're going up against an undermanned Indiana team. You have to win this game. Indiana are at home. They're going to be wanting to go as hard as possible. You need to bring the energy from the beginning, because on the road it's even harder. So that's what I want to see. And the final key takeaway is there's a lot of rumblings out there at the moment about people being traded. As we move towards the trade deadline in February, we'll find out more. This time of year, there are always tire kickers and people putting out trade rumblings and stuff about certain players. All we can take is the word of the team lineup every single game. And otherwise, if Shams isn't tweeting out that someone's been traded, then, there's not really much merit to it, is how I sort of see it at this point in the juncture with everyone and his dog putting out different trade rumours and the like. So, all in all, good win. We bank that. We take on Indiana on Friday night, Saturday morning for me. And, we'll have a chat about that after the game. But let's leave it at that. We've gone on for about half an hour. The Pelicans win. They defeat the Brooklyn Nets. I'm happy. I hope you all are happy. 116, 113. There's always opportunity to improve. This was by no means a pretty game, but you got to win ugly as well, and I'm glad the Pelicans did. So, let's leave it at that. This has been Flock, a New Orleans Pelicans podcast. I am your host, Lyle Swithenbank, at Lyle Swithenbank on Twitter and on TikTok, at Lyle Pels on Instagram. If you like what you saw today, hit the like button, hit that subscribe, share it with your mates. We appreciate all the support as we continue to grow. And, of course, stay safe and bye for now.